Hi friends, hope you are doing good. Today in this video we are going to study about matter around us. This is the first chapter of class 9 science. So what is matter? Everything in this universe is made up of material which we call matter. And anything that occupies space and has mass is called matter. Matter is made up of tiny particles. We are not able to see the particles, but that particles they are having a lot of specialities or characteristics. Now we are going to study what are the characteristics of such minute particles of the matter. So first we discussed about the space between the particles. We have already told that the size of the matter is too small, that is beyond our imagination. We cannot think about the size of the particles, that much too small it is. Still, there are a lot of space in between the particles. And these particles are continuously, randomly moving. They are continuously moving. As the temperature increases, the kinetic energy of these particles also increases, so they will be moving vigorously. They will be moving faster as the kinetic energy increases. So when the temperature increases, kinetic energy of the particles increases. As a result of that, they also will start moving with greater speed. Particles intermix with each other by getting into the space in between them. Suppose there is a vacant space and one particle is there, it can get into that vacant space and fill the space. Particles attract each other. Another speciality is that there is an attraction between each and every particle that constitute a matter. So hope you understood the characteristics of particles that constitute the matter. First one is there is a lot of space in between the particles. These particles are continuously moving. They are too small. As the temperature increases, they start moving with high kinetic energy, that is, they start moving with higher speed. And particles intermix with each other. Matter, we are going to study the different kinds of matter. In that case, we will be studying in detail what is the movement of these particles in each and every state of matter. And the last one is particles attract each other. There is a bonding. There is an attraction between each and every particle of the matter. Now, matter is divided into three different states. There are three different states of matter. The first one is solids, next one liquids, and the third one is gaseous. See, from our childhood itself, we are studying all these things. So, you will have a definite idea about what is solid, what are the characteristics, what is liquid, what is gaseous and all. So we'll have a look of all these things. First one is solids. Characteristics of solids. Solids, in this picture you can see solids. There is a definite shape. From the first moment itself we understand that there is a definite shape for the solids, and there is a definite mass and they occupy a particular space. Since they are having mass, they are having volume also, and they have negligible compressibility. That is, we are not able to compress them by applying a force. Their compressibility is negligibly small, and they are also rigid. That is, we cannot change the shape of a solid substance by applying pressure on that. It tends to break rather than changing its shape. That's why we tell the solids are rigid. So characteristics of solids, first one is they will have a definite shape, they are having definite mass and volume, they are less compressible, and they are rigid, and there is distinct boundaries, limitations. Boundary will be that boundary determines the shape. Next, characteristics of liquids. The second state of matter that we are going to study is liquids. So there is no definite shape for this liquids. Because in which container we are taking, they will take up the shape of that container. That is the important thing about liquids. Suppose we are taking the liquid in a bottle, it will take the shape of the bottle. Suppose we are taking it in a glass, it will take the shape of that glass. So in which container we are taking the liquid, that liquid will be taking the shape of that particular container. They have fixed volume and they can flow. That's why they are called fluid. Fluidity is there. Both liquids and gases have an ability to flow. That's why we call them fluid. And rate of diffusion is higher than that of solids. Rate of diffusion, we have already stated that there is intermolecular space or interparticle space in between. So they can get it to as vacant space. There is a vacant space. If there is a vacant space, one particle can get into that vacant space. That is what we call diffusion. So this rate of diffusion is very higher than that of solids. Liquids diffuse faster than solids because there is more space in between them. Next one is particles move. Particles can move, but in case of solids, the particles will be moving from their fixed position. But there is no fixed position for particles in liquid cases. They are free to move, but that freedom is limited, but they can free to move. That is, particles of liquids can free to move, and they have higher space in between them. That's why we have already discussed that they have higher space in between them than solids. See, this first picture shows the shape of the liquid. If it is taken in a flask, conical flask, it takes the shape of that conical flask. If it is taken in a round bottom flask, it takes that shape. If it is in a test tube, it take up the shape of that test tube. And the second picture shows the diffusion. Diffusion rate is higher than that of solids. Suppose a pink color, let it be a potassium permanganate drop or any color, is added to a liquid, it starts occupying the vacant spaces in between the liquid particles, and finally it will reach everywhere. The entire beaker is filled up with that pink color. That means a lot of vacant spaces are there in between the particles of liquids. Next one, we are going to study about the characteristics of gases, the third state of matter. Gases have no definite shape, but it will have a volume. Particular volume will be there for the gas, and they are highly compressible. We know that you are familiar with LPG, the cooking gas that reaches your home. A high volume of gas is compressed inside a small cylinder. That is, gas is highly compressible. Why? Because there is intermolecular space or interparticle space is very higher than that of solids and liquids. Gases have their molecules or the particles are far away from each other. There is a lot of gap or space in between them, so they can be compressed. Just like a sponge. A piece of sponge can be compressed. When we compress, the air which is occupying in the space in between the particles will be escaping and the sponge can be compressed. Just like that, by applying high pressure, the gases also can be compressed. Particles are free to move with high speed. Since there is a lot of intermolecular space and there is no definite fixed position for the particles, they are free to move with high kinetic energy and high speed. Rate of diffusion is highest in gases. That's very important. Rate of diffusion is highest in gases because this can be clearly understood by an example, just like an agarbatti. If we light up an agarbatti, if we are far away from that place itself, we can feel that smell, that aroma will be there. If your mother is cooking something special, the smell will be coming. So that's why we are telling that the gases, the diffusion rate is very higher. That is highest in gases. Rate of diffusion is highest in gases. It exerts pressure on the walls of the container in which it is taken. That is, whenever we are taking gas in a particular container, the particles are randomly moving. They are continuously moving with high speed. So while they move, they collide with each other, and also they collide with the walls of the container. This collision means what actually? It is applying a force. They are applying a force per unit area. That is what we call pressure. So the gas particles are able to exert pressure on the walls of the container because they are randomly moving. While they move, they collide with each other and also with the walls of the container. That collision, that force produces pressure. So these are the important characteristics of gases. So in this video, we discussed about states of matter. First, what is matter? What are the characteristics of particles? Then 3 different states of matter and the important characteristics of the particles in that particular states of matter. Hope you understood the video. Hope you understood that particular session. We will meet in next video. Until then, bye bye.